Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Android Weekly where we give you all the latest mobile news and answer all of your questions, either email to me during the week or ask live in the comment section down below. So if you do have a question, make sure to email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com, as you see down there. Or you can always feel free to tune in live weekly and ask your questions live. Alright, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. This is a little bit of a later show, unfortunately. Again, I had a work thing, but I did not want to skip it entirely, so wanted to record it just at a later time. So what is the big news? The big news of this week has been something that I've been asked about so much, and I just don't believe it. So what is it? It is the Galaxy S5, not Prime anymore, but the Galaxy S5 Alpha. So the Galaxy S5 Alpha is considered to be the new Samsung that's going to come out when the Note 4 comes out, and you know this is going to be Samsung's big surprise. I don't believe it's true. I just don't. And so here's a couple of things. One, that it's going to be 4.7-inch display, and it's going to be 6 millimeters thick, so that it's basically going to take like blow for blow against the against the iPhone 6, now being called the iPhone Air, of course, when it comes out as a 4.7-inch screen. I think that's too coincidental. I do not believe that it's going to be the exact same display if it is to come out for that reason. Like, are they really going to go the exact same as Apple? I just don't believe it. I do believe, though, that that leads more credibility to it being made up, because how perfect is that in a way? And that's my thing. I don't believe it to be true. Could it be? Absolutely. I just don't believe it. We've seen this happen many times, and I'm starting to not believe everything EVLeaks says. As you know, the S5 Prime was supposed to happen. Oh, it's going to come and all this kind of stuff. Never did, or it did, but it was the LTA version that's in Korea right now. And that's all I believe. I still believe this is just wishful thinking. That said, our next article is dealing with smartwatches. Yes, supposedly Samsung and Google are really debating between the future of smartwatches, and Google is actually very upset because apparently they wanted Larry Page supposedly has talked with one of Samsung VPs and was very upset because they felt that the Gear Live was not done as well as the Gear 2 or the Gear Neo or the Gear Fit. And that was very concerning for them because they're like, we did this whole OS, we did this amazing OS, and our biggest hardware contribution, our biggest hardware contributor is not really taking this seriously. And I kind of agree in a sense because, as you'll see later this week, I am having a tough time saying that the Gear Live with Android Wear is better than the Gear 2 with Tizen. Not that that means that I think Tizen's better by any means whatsoever, but as just a smartwatch, I'm having a lot of trouble, and you'll see in the review and the side-by-side comparison later this week. But what do you guys think? If you had to get a smartwatch right now, which one would you get? Is it just clear cut, or would you kind of debate between 2 or 3? The iPhone, once again, and this was something that I had said a while back actually, that the iPhone 5.5-inch version would not be released till March of next year, being the old time slot of when iPads used to be announced before they switched to the holiday season as well. And it looks like this is really becoming more and more true, it seems. And I can see this. I can definitely see this. The reason why is because, Apple always has shortages in general, and I feel that they can't they cannot supply two phones at the same time. I just don't believe they have that kind of manufacturing capability, especially as they're trying to get away from Samsung. The newer one, TSM, whatever, TSCM, I believe it's called. The company that's making the processor now does not manufacture as quick as Samsung, so I still think it's going to be a bust. So I do believe this that the 5.5 will not come out this year, and I do believe this is only further confirming it. Nvidia. This is honestly a product that I'm very, very excited about. Now, what is this? Supposedly, this just leaked earlier this week, and the Nvidia Shield this time around will be a tablet that has a controller you can purchase separately. So instead of the combination which we had last year, this will be a bit different. Now, what is this supposedly going to have? Well, it's supposedly going to be an 8-inch tablet with a 1080 screen, and it's going to come in a 16 gig version and a 32 gig version. But however, the 32 gig version will also be LTE. It's going to have a micro SD card slot, which will support up to 128 gigabytes, and you will have stylus support. Now, does that mean it's going to have the type of stylus as the Note has, or not as strong? Well, that we'll have to see. You will, however, have again a price point of $299 and $399 for each of these devices. You also will have a $59 price point for the controller for the Shield. Now, supposedly this is coming out in the US on July 29th, and if it does, I will most likely buy it. I have been wanting a serious gaming device in Android to play all of these games that are about to come out. And I will tell you one thing, the Tegra K1 blew me away at CES last year, and it was far more convincing than the Snapdragon 805 processor in terms of gaming. So will I get this? Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. In my most jaw-dropping news this week was by far to me Apple and IBM partnering. This seriously. So this is 5 days ago. So the 15th of July, 2014, marks the death of Steve Jobs' Apple. That is now completely gone. And anyone that argues anything to that does not know Steve Jobs. That company has now gone away. It is no longer his company. Everything that happens from now on, not to say that Steve Jobs already wouldn't have disapproved, Apple being common, Apple going to prepaid. Steve Jobs would not have cared for any of those kind of decisions. However, it would have been more tolerable comparing to the company he wanted to always destroy. Steve Jobs loved Android comparing to his distaste for IBM. He hated IBM, and now that it's a part of it, it's completely different. You can say I get Tim Cook said it's for the enterprise purposes, and he uses his iPad for 80% of everything he does, and then the other 20% he has to do on a computer. But it's never going to work. It's just this are two completely different cultures, two completely different companies that work differently. This will not work. It just won't. These companies could not be further apart from each other. And finally, we have Microsoft just destroying 18,000 jobs from their recently acquired Nokia mainly, which is just horrible. I mean, you see what they've done since they've bought Nokia, and man, it's just been horrible. Not to mention that really the other bad thing is now that they've stopped Android X, the Operation Android X has now been stopped as well, so they won't have, the Nokia X phone that was basically going away from Windows because it was an Android-based phone. That will now no longer happen as well. So it's really, I think they're making the wrong decisions here, and it just goes to show you that this guy really wasn't the right decision for CEO, and unfortunately, he's what they have. I still maintain that if Microsoft hired or put in the position again Bill Gates as CEO, their stock would triple just for that announcement. Because let's face it, for all intents and purposes, Bill Gates is what made that company. No other CEO has been successful since him. So, he had the mind that that company needed, just like Steve Jobs had the mind that Apple needed. It's not going to work without him. All right, now we're going to get into the weekly emailed questions. If you guys have a question, feel free to ask it in the comment section down below. And if not, we will answer the weekly emails and get to those. So Alex Papas, I believe that's how you're pronouncing it, Alex Papas, asked about the Note 4. So he has a lot of questions about the Note 4, and a lot of it comes from a lot of the rumors that are out there on the Note 4. And he's asking my thoughts on it. So the first big question was, do you think the fact that Samsung has released a new Exynos chip with built-in LTE means the company is shifting to Exynos-only products? It would make sense to them to choose their own 64-bit processor for the Note 4, making it the first 64-bit Android phone. They use Exynos for ones for the Note 2, so why not? Also, that would mean 4 gigs of RAM, keeping the trend. Note 1 had 1 gig of RAM, Note 2 had 2 gigs of RAM, and Note 3, of course, had 3 gigs of RAM. So let's answer each of these one at a time. So first, do I think that Samsung will switch to Exynos chips only? I do not. And here's why. Samsung makes so much money from their chips. Because if you have to realize that they make every Apple chip, right? So let's say this company really does take over for their processors this time around, and Samsung is not the main, because let me tell you right now, this company will not make all the chips. It's just like when LG took over for panels, they couldn't do the entire demand, so Samsung needed to step in and make iPad panels and iPhone panels since. So will they switch to Exynos processors? I don't believe so, because they still make Apple processor chips. They are now being called to make Qualcomm's processor chips for their mid-range, and they still make all of their current chips for the international phones that do not have the Qualcomm processors. So although it's an interesting point that why wouldn't they? Because it's pure revenue then, pure profit. So as a business standpoint, I think it makes sense in terms of you getting more revenue. However, in terms of being able to supply that much, one of Samsung's greatest strengths is how quickly they manufacture. I think Qualcomm would make them an offer they can't refuse. And the reason why I say that is because you can take every LG, every HTC, every other company that Qualcomm makes the chips for, and they won't make half of what Samsung sells. So if Samsung was to suddenly drop Qualcomm processors, that would be a huge, huge blow to Qualcomm in their revenue stream. So that is why I believe that they won't. You have to realize Samsung has the most buying power out of anyone right now. They hold the cards when it comes to whatever parts they want. It's how they strong-armed Sony last year, saying, I want a 13 megapixel camera, and you can't give it to anyone else. That's why Apple couldn't get their 13 megapixel camera on their iPhone. So I do not believe that will happen. However, In terms of the 4 gigs of RAM, um, I do see that happening. I do see that happening, and I see it more happening with Qualcomm having a 64-bit processor. So I do see that happening. So I do see them having 4 gigs of RAM instead of 3 gigs of RAM. I feel that you're right with the Note 1, 1 gig, with Note 2, 2 gig, with Note 3, 3 gigs. Kind of fits. Now that being said, I don't believe they're going to go past 4 gigs, if even on a Note 5. So I don't believe that. The next question was, do you think Samsung will make odd choices for camera and display? The rumor is that it will not up the screen size, and the camera will be 12 megapixel. Do you think Samsung will downgrade MP count, making the Note 4 look worse on paper than its predecessor? Although megapixels don't mean everything, I like to quickly say no. No, Samsung will not do this. Samsung is not the type of company that lowers megapixels, that keeps the same screen. Well, I could see them keeping the same screen size of 5.7, or even make it 5.7. I could see them making 5.8 or even 5.9, but they will not increase the phone size, or if they do, it won't be that dramatic. It will be very, very minimal if they do. In terms of the camera, no. It's going to be the 16 megapixel camera we see on the S5 and maybe a few extra bells and whistles, but it's going to be a 16 megapixel camera, period. Do you think they will show big improvements? What people, tech-related ones, ask for? Front-facing speakers, metal body, perhaps revamp UI, even a Note-style OS. And then talked about, thank you for your compliments on being knowledgeable. So here's the thing. That's the question. I don't think front-facing speakers. As much as we all wanted to, I don't think Samsung will do it. I think if we see front-facing speakers, they will be on a S series or eventually a new F series or whatever new series Samsung comes up with. But I do not think it'll be on a Note. I just don't see them putting front-facing speakers on the Note. If I'm wrong, please make me wrong. I would love front-facing speakers. They are my favorite part of the HTC One that I have. The main thing that when going from the HTC One to another phone is that speakers that I miss. However, the UI, I believe they will change a bit more, but not. I don't know if they'll change it dramatically. I just don't know if they'll change dramatically. And when it comes to being metal, oh, that's the question. Will they make it metal? The thing. My response is always to this about the metal thing. Samsung could just make a metal version of the phone, and it would sell like crazy, because they can make a metal Note 3 and give it the same processor that the S5 has, and that's all they would need to do, and it would be fine. That would be it. That would be all they would need to do. So will they do it? I don't believe so. I don't believe they're going to have metal. If they would do it, it would be in the Note. The reason why I say that would be on the Note instead of an S series is because Notes don't sell as much as S series, and one of the main reasons why Samsung doesn't do on S series is because they can't manufacture metal products as quick as they can manufacture plastic products. So if you wonder why they use polycarbonate plastic, it's because it manufactures quicker, plain and simple. All right. Sorry, that one was a long one. Charles asks, dear sir, I have an Asus Transformer 300. I enjoy my machine a lot. I found a video on how to screen capture. I wonder if you would have any suggestions on a really good photo editor, video editor, or other useful programs. Point me in the right direction for a good software app. I thank you and look forward to hearing from you. So for photo editing, you have Photoshop. Well, I'm not sure if your TF300 is compatible with it. It's been a while since I had a Asus tablet. Really should get one of the new ones. But I don't see it being anything out there on the market better than Photoshop. I mean, it's the best. And the mobile version, not Photoshop Express, Photoshop Touch. It's really good. It does a very good job for all intents and purposes of photo editing. For video editing, I honestly always use the built-in one on my Samsung, so I haven't played around with video editors too much. Um, yeah, I was trying to like think of a good. I used to play with Majesto, but that just kind of was a collage one, which now the S5 had built in, so I don't need that one anymore. But yeah, I haven't come across any particularly great video editors. They've all been kind of similar. You kind of trim, and or you can add a scene, but nothing wow worthy, I would really say, in terms of video editors. Photo editors, Photoshop is the one. Um, in terms of other editing, I mean, Photoshop I just use for mostly everything on for editing stuff. So yes, for photo wise. Gina asks, "Good morning. I got a Razer Motorola. I need help on how to sync it with my calendar, Google Calendar. Can you help me with this?" Yes. So I'm not really sure why you're having an issue syncing. The first thing, of course, is to make sure you are signed into Google Calendar. So if you sign in the settings under Accounts. You need to make sure that you go into into your Google account, your Gmail account, and then make sure your calendar is synced and highlighted to be synced, and it's a little check mark there. After that, you also want to make sure that you have the ability to actually check to make sure your sync icon is highlighted so that you have that icon fully highlighted so you can see right there that that is on. If it's not on, it's not going to sync, period. And then lastly, you go into your calendar app and you hit something like menus and calendars, and then you get to see what calendars are synced up. So once you have that, then you can see all of your calendars that are synced up in your calendar app. Those are the things I recommend. Lastly, of course, if you just want to, you can download Google Calendar. Google has their own calendar app, which of course syncs with all of their Gmail, so that you can have that ability to do that. All right, and in the last questions of the day, um, Boom Boom Xmas. I don't see your real name, sorry. Ask, I am up in years, so it's more difficult for me to understand the how to do list. So he ordered a dual core Android tablet, and every time he tries to connect to Wi-Fi, I get a different answer. What password am I looking to type? So you're just having a problem finding your password. So for Wi-Fi, you do need to connect to your router, which gives you internet. And guys, everyone has their own pace, so please, you need to connect to a router, and that you're going to need the password for your router, and that allows you to connect your tablet to your router, which gives you internet. That's how Wi-Fi works, is it gives you internet. So that's the answer for that. What password do you need? You need the password for your router in order to connect your tablet to your router to get internet and to get Wi-Fi. So yes, that's how. Do I get the password off of my router? Yes. If your internet provider, they probably either gave you a paper with the password or the password is written on your router. Mine is written on my router. I changed it since, but that's how it's easy. Is it possible to get a solitaire version on the tablet? Absolutely. You can get solitaire. I downloaded several versions of it for my mom. She ended up liking one of them. So yes, you can get solitaire on your tablet. I'm sure I'm already frustrated, or it's the best way I can get the info. Yeah, so that should be it. Hopefully. Hopefully that'll help you, but it really sounds like you need someone to walk you through it, and hopefully that helps. Though you need to get your password from to your for your router, which hopefully is written on it. If not, your internet provider should be able to help you with that. Or if you purchase a router, then you should get that. All right, Kronos DB. Hey, welcome, Kronos. Yes, it is late. Sorry for the late showing. Uh, when an update for Android comes out, is there a way to get it around to the carriers? And is there a way to get around the carriers and their bloatware? Can I update straight from HTC or Samsung directly without carrier BS? So the short answer is not really. And here's why. So Samsung does have a way to connect to them right away. HTC desktop software. I can't remember Sync Manager. Okay. And it looks like HTC does as well. Transfer from your iPhone, give you peace of mind, your memories, personal info, multimedia manager, and I'm not really sure if HTC's allows you to update. And yeah, it doesn't look like HTC's gives you an update. Samsung keys will also will allow you to update your phone. Once you update your phone, you can you can take it once the update has been through the carrier. So here's how it works. Samsung gets an update, right? And then the carrier, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, have say that starting on the 15th we're going to start this OTA update, over-the-air update. Once that happens, you have to wait up to a month or more sometimes to get that update. However, with Samsung, you can just simply plug it into your desktop computer with Samsung keys, and after the carrier has announced the update, you can directly connect it in, and the Samsung keys will be like, hey, there's an update for your phone. Let's update it. This is by far the best way to update a phone. The best way. Wi-Fi, any other way is not as good. This is more consistent, and this is better off. But it would be the way you would do it to update it directly, but it has to be after the carrier has done it. Now, the other answer is that anything's possible in the tech world. You can root it, you can do different things, but if you want the exact update for your exact phone without worrying about anything crashing or anything like that, you want to wait for the carrier to push out the update. All right, guys. Well, that looks like it's the only question. Sorry again for this being so late. I do know that it was later than expected, and I do thank you guys for watching. We had about 18 people watching during, and although it's a little bit lower than our normal, I just thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Really do appreciate it. All right, guys. That will be it for today, as it is a little bit late now. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com and send in your questions. All right, thank you again for watching. It's been RICKY, the Android Guy.